Welcome to Carlube and episode 13 of this series. There's lots to get through in this episode, so I'll hand you straight over to Spencer to show you the progress. Please subscribe and like, and if you're enjoying this series, please share with fellow enthusiasts.
This battery tray obviously fits in here. Now this battery tray was originally metal, and as you can see, the end of the chassis rail, so from here all the way back to where the wheel arches start, because the battery tray is removed, the chassis is open. So what we're doing is basically creating a channel section, which is what Tony's on now. Making a channel section there, that's it, yeah. And that channel section is going to go in the chassis. So we're going to open some spot weld holes up here, plug weld holes, sorry, and underneath, and we're going to put that channel into there like that, underneath, in there, plug weld it all the way on the top, along the bottom, plug weld this cap back onto it, making sure that the plate is flush, and then we can then fit this carbon tray in, and the chassis got its full strength back. So that's the first arch glued on. You can see, if I try and show you, I mean, I'm taking the weight of the car there. There's a lot of weight I'm putting onto that. At the minute we've only got like the 4 little screws just to line the arch up, but the arch is glued on. You can see the glue is sort of overspilled just inside the arch, and I've just wiped that off all the way around. So first one down. So you can see that the inner wing now is that is one piece of metal on its own, and this piece of metal, this 2.5 inch flange all the way around. So you can see, if I come down a little bit, you'll see that it's a 2.5 inch flange all the way around the arch. Now that flange has been added by me purely because I felt that there needed to be a better bonding surface. So these are the carbon rear wheel arches, and the carbon rear wheel arches need to be bonded on. So originally they would have been spot welded, the steel part would have been spot welded all the way around just on this flange here. Now that flange is okay for spot weld because it's 1 inch deep. You can see the thickness of my thumbnail. Now that would have been spot welded all the way along. You can see we're unpicked the spot welds around there. And that would have been more than strong enough for the steel part. But because these carbon arches need bonding on, they need a better surface to bond to, a larger surface. So what we're given is this inch wide spot weld surface is a bonding surface as well. But what we've also done is added these 2.5 inch flanges, so we can now create a angle iron section all the way around the actual wheel arch, which will give it nearly 3.5 inches worth of gripping area, which is quite a substantial amount when you think that the original area for the one spot weld every sort of 26mm was only 1 inch wide. So when you put these on, they're very, very substantial. I'll try and feed this in one-handed. I don't know how successful I'll be. So, that one's on. That one's on. So now you can see that the actual arch sits there on its own. So what I intend to do is bond on my channel section, which is that piece of steel, all the way around the arch, up where the reservoir tank goes for the fuel, all the way down there, and all the way down to the very bottom of the arch. So that piece of steel now, this arch is sitting on. When this is all bonded all the way around, which I'm about to do, I'm about to bond that on, I will then have to bond this surface. So you can see once this is glued, the rear quarter can go on, and to glue around the filler neck I need to rough this up a little bit, apply glue around the filler neck, and I need to apply glue all the way up around the arch, all the way around. Now I'm actually going to make it that thickness in depth all the way around the arch and bond this carbon arch to the rear quarter. Now once it's in, it's very, very substantial. You can see that this battery tray is actually already pre-bonded in. So bonded it along the original chassis rail. But what I found was when we removed the original battery tray, the side of the battery tray here was actually the side wall of the chassis rail. So we actually made a channel section of steel, which it came out with a return at the top, 1 inch wide, would come down and then returned back underneath. And what I done was I plug welded all the way along the boot floor and along the bottom of the chassis rail from underneath. So a plug section of steel went into the chassis, giving the chassis rail all its strength back, and it actually then gave me a larger bonding surface from here all the way down to there. So this whole tray now is bonded all the way around there. No way that's going to move at all. And it's the same principle with the passenger side rear arch. You can see that rear arch is already bonded on, giving you a nice finish on this last little joint. You know, it looks, once it's painted, it will look totally original. You won't be able to tell that that's bonded in part. Same with the inside of this arch. So this area here, this steel add-on between the two joints, gives us a lovely bonding surface to bond this carbon arch in. I actually lifted the car on the rear arch itself with a quarter off, took the weight of the car and actually lifted the jig with the arch. So they're seriously attached. It's very, very strong. So I'm very, very happy with the process of that. The rear arches, the last rear arch is going on today, glued on, and then we've got side pocket. So the side pocket on the passenger side, this side pocket here, is now discontinued. So this piece of steel all the way along there is now discontinued from the boot floor down to the rear quarter. So I've actually made my own one from scratch. Looks a bit primitive, but it's going to do the job perfectly. You can see, I'll try and offer it up so you can see, get an idea of how it will fit once it's in. Go through there, you can see that it's got to go back a bit yet because there's another little return need bending over at the back there, but you can see that the actual return where it meets the bottom of the pocket and the boot floor is spot on. So that piece of steel, once that little lug is bent over, I'm going to load that all the way back to the back panel, and you have a brand new sidewall of the inner pocket, which is discontinued. So basically this part on this grey shell next to me, you can see we're underneath it, there's the wheel well, and that's the part that's been made. See the difference in depth between pre-facelift and facelift. A couple of 3 inches there nearly. Alright, so yeah, that's progress. We've got to weld this bad boy on once this arch is glued, and we are ready to fit the outer body panels. Now I've actually glued the arch on. You can see that the glue sort of squeezes out from the joints, sealing the whole thing all the way around. The bolts are literally just to hold it in place whilst the glue sets. So you can see all the way around is our plates, and the glue is bulged out either side of the plate. So that is now a sealed joint. So that means that no water will penetrate that. Now that the glue has gone off. So this arch is done. Running through here quickly. It's just a mimic of the actual original steel part. Same that side. From when you look into the boot, you can see carbon fibre, which is cool if you decide to leave it. But I don't think we are. We're going to paint it. So there we go. That arch is glued now. I can now get on with the other side pocket, which is the opposite pocket to this passenger side pocket. I'll weld that on, and then once that's welded, we are ready for rear quarters back panels. This is the custom plate that I've just made to go in there, so you can see she's got the same angle as the original plate, which would have been there. 10mm lip there, going down to hardly nothing. That's welded in place down in the arch there as well. And the back panel's fitted properly, that goes up against there. You can see through there that she's been fully welded and ground down. That side plate is totally finished. The back panel now also, so that the rear panel, the rear light panel, has been fully welded in. It just took me a little while just to make sure everything's lined up properly. So you can see how she's lined up there. Lovely. And then if I move to the other side, she's lined up there. The rear panel now is fully welded in. That's why there's all those grind marks all the way along, because all the spot welds are holding the back panel on now. So the next step, what I'm going to do is have, I think, the passenger side rear quarter panel off again. Now that the rear panel is fixed, is a fixed welded point, that rear panel will not move now. So my lines and my lining up there will stay exactly the same once I remove the rear quarter. The door gaps will stay exactly the same because everything is bolted and doweled. That's the side panel that was made. The main thing I wanted to show in this video is where the rivets are going. I need to fit those before the rear quarter went on. So what I've done is, in the little flange return, if you can remember, we made a 2.5 inch flange extra onto the side of the 1 inch flange, which was the original spot weld point. So we made the flange out. What I've done is I've basically glued this arch to both flanges, the 1 inch spot weld and the 2.5 inch one. And I've also now fitted stainless steel rivets, so these rivets will not ever corrode or break down, rust away. They're stronger than aluminium ones. Obviously they'll take more abuse. I was told by the carbon company who supplied me with the glue, which is the correct glue to use to bond carbon to steel, and they said that the rivets are only there as a precautionary to stop the whole thing from peeling. The main strength is in the glue itself. So the glue which we use to bond the carbon onto the back of the car, you can see this is the glue that I've used. This is made by a company called Easy Composites, and this glue is basically the ultra strong glue to bond carbon to carbon or carbon to steel, carbon to stainless. So if you want to buy that, you can go to that website, buy it from Easy Composites. That is the name of the glue. This is the model of the glue, VM100 Black, and if you get those tubes, you have to get the proper dispenser for the glue. So that is the gun. When you buy the glue, if you intend to use it more than once, I do suggest to buy more than one nozzle. The nozzles, you can see, actually mix the glue as the glue's pushed out of the gun itself. So once that glue is on the actual item all the way around, you have less. It says 20 minutes working time and 20 degrees. You have less than that, to be quite honest. You have to be very, very quick. So what I've done is obviously glued this arch to the car. It is strong. I've then added the stainless steel rivets all the way around, spread nice and evenly until we get to the boot. I tried to keep the number of rivets down in the boot because, as you can see, you can only see one of the rivets now. That one rivet is just basically stopping this bottom side from peeling, yeah, so very, very, very nice little job. I have Well, I am completely happy with the strength of that repair. So that is a very strong item. You can actually take the weight of the car with this arch now on its own. I can physically lift the car and the jig up in the air with the way that that's been fixed. So now all I've got to do is key up this arch all the way around, key up my rear quarter, glue that area, and then start spot welding my rear quarter on all the way around. Everyone would be like, what did you do this weekend? Yeah, I stayed at work and drilled plug holes.
In this episode of Carlu, we've got for your viewing pleasure the comings and goings from a recent Evolve Automotive Cars and Coffee meet. Apart from right now, there will be no music, just the sound of these cars. And if you see anyone you recognise, be sure to share this video with them. And as always, please subscribe and give it a thumbs up. Other than that,